Hey there! Today we're going to use the beautiful Altair and we're going to make the perfect 1/4 inch seam. Hi, I'm Kathy and this is Sewing Tech Talk. We're going to use all kinds of features on this machine. We're going to talk about the hardware, the stitches. Oh, there's so much information. There's so much information I probably couldn't fit it into a video. So what I've made is a 4-page handout. Now at the end of the video, go to the description section and you can download this. You can put it on your pad or print it out. I even have a place for you to put in your specific settings for your specific machine. So I think this is going to be very useful to you, but we have a lot to cover on the machine. So let's start to sew. So if you look at the bed of the machine now, I have lots of different choices. I'm going to take off this foot so we can talk about all the different options that we have. So the machine comes with different feet that you can use for doing a 1/4 inch, and there's a couple optional feet that you can get as well. These happen to be my favorite, but we're going to talk about them all. If you notice, I have all these little samples here, and I'm using them to perfect my 1/4 inch seam. Now, step-by-step procedures are in that handout for you, but let's start to talk about our 1/4 inch seam. So this is the one that didn't work for me, so let's start with that one. And I'm going to put on the regular foot that comes with the machine. Oops, stuff's flying around here. I'm going to put on the regular foot that comes with the machine, and I'm going to talk about the needle. Now I have 7 different straight stitches on this machine, so I can adjust this needle when I pick any one of the straight stitches. Now remember, all the different functions of those straight stitches are in your handout. But what I can do is I can adjust the position of the needle using 2 different keys on the machine. I can adjust the width of the stitch. That's in the straight stitch, that's just the needle position, and I have something amazing called the LR shift. Now, the width of the stitch is changed by just pushing those buttons, and it goes over in 1/2 millimeter increments. That's pretty tiny, but I also have an LR shift, and that means that I can adjust it by just 1/4 millimeter. So let's see what that looks like on the machine. When I adjust it by 1/2 millimeter, that's a pretty big swoop. Let's take that back and go with a shift. See how that's a much tinier position, which means that I can get that specific stitch, that needle right where I want it to be. There's a couple other features on the machine as well. I can take some of the feet that comes with the machine, either the straight stitch foot. It also comes with a straight stitch needle plate. They go together. Notice how that hole is really tiny. If I use that, I really can't adjust my needle so much. I have to have that stitch right in the middle. There's a 1/4 inch foot that comes with the machine as well. And when I put that foot on, you can see that that has a small opening as well, but it has a guide. So that means when I'm sewing, I literally can't put my fabric too far over to the right. It really helps me to be doing the correct positioning of my fabric because it won't let me do it wrong. But Baby Lock has some really special feet that I really like to use. Notice how they're wider than this other foot. I use these because they give me a little bit more control. They cover more of the feed dogs when I'm sewing. So that's step 2. I picked my straight stitch. I've changed my needle position a little bit where I think it's going to work, and I've put on the foot that I like to use a lot. Let's take that fabric and put it under there and see what else we have. So I'm going to put it where I sewed, and you can see in the very front I have this 1/4 inch guide. So I can use the right side of this foot right up here and this 1/4 inch guide to sew. And that's what I did. I did that, and then I checked my seam, and there's a couple places where you can measure. One of them's wrong and one of them's right. So I measured my seam when I got it finished, and that looks just like a 1/4 inch seam. It seems like it should be the right thing to do. But the true test is, what are the finished results? So when I open up my fabric and measure it, these were 2-inch squares, so this should measure 3.5 from side to side. I find that I am short by at least 1/8 of an inch. And if you add that up, you're going to have your block really wrong really fast. So what I did is I used my left-right shift and I moved my needle over just a little bit. Now I have a couple other features that are really helpful. On this machine, I have what's called an LED guide light, and I can move that light within the field of sewing so I can have an extra guide to help me. So now I have the foot, I can use the side, I have this right here, and I have that LED guide light. So you can see I did all of those different changes and I kept sewing 2-inch squares till I got just the right one. So let's see what that looks like. I got it in there, that's where I sewed, and I could see that, oh my goodness, I might have to change that light. Oh, that's just perfect. So when I sew, I know that I am going to have just the right seam every single time. So accuracy is important, but if you can get consistency, that's where you can sew from day to day and have perfect results. Now I've made a lot of adjustments. How do I know that everything's going to be the way I want it to be? Well, the great thing about the Altair is it has memory for each one of these utility stitches that I'm going to use. So when I set up the machine just like I like it, I may have shortened the stitch length, I may have adjusted it here. For this stitch, I'm going to put that into the memory of the machine. And that means when I come back to that stitch, that it's going to remember all my settings that I've done. Now, something that can happen as well is if you use a thicker fabric, this fabric's a little bit thicker than this regular quilting fabric, it still makes a fun quilt. That because of the turn of the fabric, it may take up a little bit more space. So I might need to make my stitch adjustments for that fabric as well. No problems. I can make adjustments for that, do my little sample, and put that in the memory of the machine. I've already done that. Let's see what that looks like. When I want to retrieve a memory, I have different memories of the machine for that specific stitch. All I have to do is remember which one goes with which fabric. And I've done that. I made little notes on there. So if I want that setting, I touch that, I go retrieve, and now my machine is all set up for all those settings. That's super convenient. And that means from time to time to time as you sew, that you're super consistent. So I've done all that. I've got my consistent 1/4-inch seam. I have my little samples. I've written them down as well because I can lose stuff. But there's another cool thing about this machine that's really, really great. I have that LED guide light, right? So I can use it when I am sewing 1/4 square triangles. Now a 1/4 square triangle has 2 sides. Let's see this, I can get this so that you can see it. So if I sew a 1/4 inch in and I open this on up, what I'm going to have is there's a square there and there's a square on this side. So I can cut this all up, I can sew it. In the past, I have drawn lines to show the center and me sewing a 1/4 inch from each side. That's a lot of drawing on squares. So what I can do with my guide light is this. I've set it up for my 1/4 inch seam, right? So when I put it on here, if I take it, oops, let me cut that thread, and I put it on here, I can put that center line right on that diagonal. And that means when I sew, I wouldn't have to mark at all. All I have to do is keep that line right on the diagonal, and I know I'm a 1/4 inch away from that line. Just go ahead, sew the other side, and I'm good to go. But now, I've said that this machine is a superhero, and it really is. One of its superpowers is free motion quilting. It does that really, really well. But there's another superpower that it has using that LED guide light. It has X-ray vision. Let me show you what I mean. So I've put this little block together, and I want to make sure that my points match when I sew them. So I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to do that as my next sewing adventure. And I'm going to line everything up, and I'm going to match it on in, and I'm going to take my little clip right here and make sure that I'm good to go. Now, when I sew these, I want to make sure that I go through this little just to the right of this little X. Don't worry, that's all in your handout. But on this side, I have another little X that I want to hit. Well, in the past, I can't see if I've lined those up. I pin them and pin them and pin them, and it just doesn't seem to, it shifts on me, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this light and now I'm going to shift it exactly where my stitch is. I'm going to take it all the way over so it's shining exactly where I'm going to sew. I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to use all my superpowers in my sewing arsenal to sew. So I'm going to sew a little bit. Take out that clip. Now I know I want this to match top and bottom. So what's amazing is I can lift this up and that guide light shines underneath. It shines through to that bottom fabric. I can see that I'm going to orientate it. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to hold everything in place, double check. That should be good to go. So now when I sew, if I've held everything the way I've had it before, I should be having my perfect points. Let's see. I sure hope I did it right, because you all are watching. Let's see. Oh my goodness, I matched my points. So what's amazing is this machine has all kinds of features, and you can set it up so that when you're sewing, you have precision, and not only that, but you can have consistency. So this machine is the Baby Lock Altair. All kinds of fun features that you can use to sew and get accuracy and perfect 1/4 inch seam. Now, I have a question for you. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Are we alone? Do you have any quilting projects that you've started and maybe not finished? And maybe did you not finish them because the pieces didn't fit right? Well, you put a lot into those projects. Emotionally, you picked out all the colors and the fabrics, and you've invested a lot in the fabric and time and everything to get that project going good. But if it's not finished, it's not a quilt yet. So a machine that can partner with you to help you finish those projects, that has tons of different features, that has features that you can memorize that stitch and precisely position it so that you're successful. That's a great machine. This machine is a superhero, not only in piecing, but in other things as well. It's also an embroidery machine. So if you think that you could step up and have a machine that would partner with you, I think the Altair might be a great choice. And so if you want to have all the notes for this, go to the description. Remember, there's that 4-page handout that talked about so much more than I ever did and gives you step-by-step procedures for figuring out your perfect 1/4 inch seam. And while you're there, pick up an Altair. George, can you tell them about the special on the Altair? Because I think that they may want to get one. I'm happy that you watched me. Come back and see me again, and take it away, George.
Thanks, Cathy. That was an incredible presentation. Don't forget, you can click on the link and download Cathy's lesson guide on today's presentation. But I want to take a couple moments to share with you my favorite features on the Baby Lock Altair. I believe the Altair is dollar for dollar the most advanced machine on the market. There are machines that sell for thousands of dollars more that do not offer the same features. You know, the embroidery features are incredible. The 9.5 inch by 14 inch embroidery area, you can really expand your horizon with embroidery, and there's 494 built-in designs. You also have that 10.1 inch color screen that gives you all kinds of editing capability, from color to sizing to also you can actually take designs and do automatic stippling around it. It has 30 built-in fonts and 5 jumbo monograms. Now with the fonts, you have all kinds of editing capability. You can even take and put in a name or a saying and then do an applique border and turn it into applique automatically. It also has the IQ Designer. Now, this is an app that you use your smart device like a phone or an iPad, and you can send an image, a graphic image, to the machine, and it will turn it into embroidery instantly. The embroidery is amazing, but what about the sewing and quilting? This machine has 11.25 inches of space and 5 inches of height, so you can fit even the largest quilts into this machine. It also has automatic fabric sensors that will sense the thickness of the fabric, so it will set the right pressure, and with the automatic tension it gives you perfect fabric control, from heavy denim to very sheer fabric to working with elastic or even a t-shirt collar. This machine truly controls the fabric with perfection. But also it has the digital dual feed, and what that does is that is a belt-driven walking foot system that's controlled by the motor of the machine, and you can control, even like here with this Minky, perfectly. So you have so many amazing features with this machine. But what about an amazing deal? The MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested list price of this machine, is $10,999. And it's worth that for all the amazing things that it does. We right now have it on sale for $79.99. And we're offering free shipping across the United States. Plus we have interest-free payments of $167 per month. That makes this machine very affordable. But wait, that's not all. For a limited time, and while we have it in stock, we are offering a special bonus with your Altair purchase. So first, we're going to give this beautiful set of 63 spools of polyester embroidery thread. The beautiful shine and quality of this thread is quite amazing. Also, I'm including the Baby Lock Ultimate Stabilizer Bundle. This has the most popular rolls of stabilizer, from wash away to cut away, in different colors, and this will enhance your embroidery to give you a better quality. I'm also including the Baby Lock Altair Inspirational Guide. Now, the instructions on this machine is wonderful, but what's different about the Inspirational Guide, it is written by Baby Lock educators, assuming you know nothing about the machine. So it takes you through every aspect, giving you full color. It's over 300 pages of full color description, step-by-step description. And if you complete this Inspirational Guide, you truly know everything on this machine. We're including that. Plus, we're going to include a online membership to Baby Lock's Love of Knowledge. This has hundreds of videos that give you step-by-step details on how to use the machine and also do techniques. This is invaluable, and you get a membership to this as well. You also get our famous rose gold scissors. These scissors are wonderful, both the shears and the embroidery shears. But last and not least, we put together a very exclusive design bundle by Anita Good Design. It has 17 different collections, and it comes with over 400 design files. And it's truly amazing the variety you get with this. So all this, which equals over a $1,600 value, is free with your Altair purchase for a limited time. Now, we will run out of these supplies, so this is while supplies last. So click on the link to order, or you can call us at 1-800-865-9664. You can email me at moreso@aol.com. But don't wait, this deal will surely end. But if you have any questions, again, call us at 1-800-865-9664. Bye for now.